My name is Brad DeMeo, and I'm born and raised in Sonoma County. Charles DeMeo was my great uncle, and we always referred to him as Uncle Chop. I was probably 28 years old before I knew his given name. He was always referred to as Chop in the family. And he and I both practiced law, like my grandfather, my dad, and my daughter. And that's our legacy in Santa Rosa. My connection to Chops actually started when Charles DeMeo was still alive. One of my specialties was foundation work as a lawyer. And he called me up one day and wanted to talk about foundations. So we carried on some conversations about private foundations, how they were set up, how to maintain them, what it took to maintain a private foundation. About a year later, he revealed to me what he was going to do with his estate. From that point on, he was sure to have me involved. He wanted me to be the successor trustee when he passed, to manage the fund transfer from his trust to the foundation. The foundation, graciously enough, invited me to the board of directors. And during the development of CHOPS, all the community meetings, events, I participated in those and saw it get built.
I know Brad because I was the CEO of Community Foundation Sonoma County, and I was one of the people who got the first call that, in fact, Charles Chop DeMeo was going to leave the bulk of his estate for the community. We inherited Brad along with the $16 million. And I've often said over the years that I don't know which was more valuable. Brad turned out to be a wonderful asset, not only for the teen club and the grant making from the DeMeo funds, but he came on the advisory board for CHOPS Teen Club, and he came on the board of the Community Foundation, and he knew what his uncle wanted.
I know Brad from the very beginning of when we started the design of CHOPS. He was part of the interview panel when I interviewed for the job of executive director. I found Brad to be really approachable, and he would answer questions, have great ideas. So he was a good resource for me to be able to touch base with on, are we getting it right? Is this the direction that CHOP wanted? Our job was to fulfill the donor's wishes. And in this case, it was a social meeting facility for the young people of Santa Rosa. So he was a big help in that regard, just providing that assurance.
Brad and I met when we were 2 years old, moved into the same neighborhood, and pretty much have been best of friends ever since that time, 60 plus years ago. Brad told me before Chops died that he was working on some big stuff. And he says, I'm not in a position to explain any more than that, but there's gonna be some really cool things. And so he helped get it started. You know, to be sustained as long as it has so far in the vision that I think Chops imagined, it had to start with a great foundation. So I'd say that was Brad's, certainly his key role, was making sure this all got started on the right foot.
Sitting in his living room, I could see out his front window the kids at Ridgeway High School sitting on the curbside with nothing to do. When I would visit him, we'd have lunch once in a while. And toward the end of that lunch hour, you could see the kids had nothing to do, nowhere to go. I think he saw that and wanted them to have a safe place to be. Part of it related to his own life, how he struggled and made it. And I think he recognized that not every teen has a leg up. I truly believe he saw teens that needed support and that they could flourish if all they had was support.
Brad has been my sweetheart for the last 41 years and my husband for the last 39. Brad and I met in a costume shop at Sonoma State University. I walked out of the costume shop and thought, that's the man I'm gonna marry. So when Brad was working with Chop, when he was nearing the end of his life, he came home one night after he had been at the hospital with Chop and going over things and making sure that it was all set up, that Chop just got a little grin on his face and said, boy, are they gonna be surprised when they find out what we've done. Chop was a quiet man as far as I could tell. He did things for others and did things for the community without wanting accolades for it, and he just contributed in a really quiet way, and I think Brad's a lot like that. He doesn't do what he does when he's trying to make the world a better place because he wants to get an award or have somebody thank him for doing it. He does it because it's the right thing to do, and he has in his spirit the desire to make the world a better place and to help out those who need help when they need it. That seems to be in the DNA of the DeMeo family, I have to say.
My family has always been very invested in this community. My Uncle Chop and my Grandpa Nick grew up with a single mom without a lot. It was important to them to continue to support the community, and I think our family has always been very dedicated to that idea. So I think it's important that we continue to support Chops. I'm so glad they're here and they're giving the kids a place to go. It's amazing in here. Every time I come in here and see, the kitchen or the music room or the rock climbing wall, I mean, that's such a cool thing for the kids to have here. So I think Uncle Chop would be really proud of it.
Chops is important to our community because it exists. It's also a symbol for others to see and consider doing things for teens and youth in our community.
What I appreciate about Brad, and something that I think I try to copy as much as I can, is appreciation for everybody. He doesn't put people in any particular category. We're all together, we're all friends. It's more of we're all just human beings and trying to get along and have a great time with life. And he makes sure everybody around him has a good time. Everyone treats each other with fairness and respect and fun more than anything else.
Brad was raised to give back to his community. He's just such a good person, and he's honest and is always, trying to do good and do the right thing.
He's such a good father. There's a lot of other qualities that make him great, but at heart, he's a good person. He's been able to raise me and my siblings in a way that has, at least I hope, made us turn into good people. He's just a really good dad. He's the best.
I would like to say to Brad, my longtime good friend, congratulations on a recognition well-deserved and carrying forth not just your personal goals, but the goals of CHOP and this organization, CHOPS, to move forward and to deliver the wishes and to care and provide opportunities for teenagers in Sonoma County and the related organizations.
To my dad, I'm really proud of you. I think that everything that Uncle Chop wanted, you helped create here, and I think he'd be really proud of it.